Good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday. Let's give everyone a minute to join before we begin. Feel free to add where you guys are coming from in the chat or the Q&A panel right there as we're waiting.
And if you're only here because I bribed you, just put that in there. Tommy made me come.
We have Sammy from Jersey, Channel Islands, Eric from Vegas, Tony from San Diego, Nick from New Jersey. That's awesome. It's nice to see a variety of locations here. We have Paul from Walnut Creek, California, Connecticut, Arizona, Orlando. Awesome. Let's go ahead and get things started here. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today for our Fieldwire Follow Voltage webinar. My name is Pranati Gompa, and I'm a program manager here at Fieldwire. Before we begin, I would like to address a few housekeeping items. To ensure smooth session, all the attendees are muted, but please don't hesitate to ask any questions you may have in the Q&A panel, the same place where you're adding where your location is from. And we will have a Q&A session at the end of this webinar, and we'll do our best to address as many questions as we can. And for any questions we don't get to, our experts will reach out to you directly. We also have some poll questions during the webinar for you to participate in. So feel free to select your answer when the questions pop up. Additionally, we have a short 5 question survey at the end of this webinar, and we would really appreciate it if you could fill that out. This survey basically determines the usefulness of the content that we deliver, and it also helps us plan 2026 webinars now. We're almost at that time where we started to look at the different topics that we want to tackle in 2026. So please stay in and fill in that end of the webinar survey there. So today, before we dive in, let's answer a couple of poll questions to get the energy up. The first one is this. Just want to understand what type of company do you work for? I know it's a low voltage webinar, but we see all kinds of people here today. Um, let's just learn a little bit. Awesome. We have a huge mix of subcontractors, but also like a very equal amount of AEC, GCs, and others. At some point, I need to start defining what this other means because every time I keep seeing others, and I'm like, I don't know what else I have to define.
You need to fill in your own so you know what to ask for.
I know. I wish they had the option to fill in others. That's
You should
us.
add MSP. I'm trying to think what categories there might be. I'm like, what's other? Because that's a lot of it right there.
Yep, I agree. Um, awesome. Thank you so much for answering that. I have another poll question before we jump in. Also, just want to understand what type of personas we have in the webinar. So, what's your role at your company? A project manager, project engineer, project coordinator, super foreman, project executive, and also another. I see there's a good mix between PMs, PEs, also supers. That's awesome. Let's give it another second as we have more people fill this in.
What's other? My boss made me attend this. That's what that one is.
I do have that question in the survey. I'll ask them why have they attended this. If it's
My
like
boss told me.
um awesome. Thank you so much for answering those polls. Without further ado, I would like to welcome Courtney Botos and Tommy Jordan. Courtney, take it away.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Courtney Bottas. I am a construction success manager here at Fieldwire. I did spend about 7 years in the industry working for a couple of different general contractors, from a project engineer to a project manager before I decided to make the jump over to construction tech. So my role here at Fieldwire is to work with different construction teams and just ensure that they're taking full advantage of all the different features that Fieldwire has to offer. And then joining us today is Tommy with Twisted Networx. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Tommy.
Hey, everybody. My name is Tommy Jordan. I am the owner and founder of Twisted Networx. We are a MSP and structured cabling business. So I've been doing structured cabling since about '01. I've been doing MSP since the term was founded in about 2008. But we actually do just about 60% of our revenue is structured cabling. So Fieldwire is a great tool. And we've learned that the Fieldwire also supports the MSP side well. So it helps us for both sides of our business.
Awesome. So a quick agenda for today, we're going to start off with a brief intro of what Fieldwire is and how we can help streamline the construction process. And then Tommy is going to walk us through how Twisted Networx leverages Fieldwire to increase efficiency and reduce risk on the job site. And then we'll take a step back and kind of walk through some of the workflows. All right, so a little bit about Fieldwire for those of you that aren't yet familiar. So Fieldwire was built to connect the field to the office. So many people that work at Fieldwire, like myself, do come from the construction industry. So our goal here is to make it easy for the field to access the information that they need to perform their work, while also providing a way to track and report that progress back to the office. So having that background in construction has really helped us to shape the platform to address the more specific challenges that you would face in the field, like that ease of use, offline access, and reliability. So as your team continues to adopt Fieldwire, we're really here to make sure that it will continue to grow to support your company as you guys are all growing as well. All right, so our main focus for today are going to be on 3 different modules. So we'll mainly be focusing on plans, tasks, and photos. So we'll be walking through some of the detailed task workflows to help us track progress in real time, and then taking photos to document completed work. All right, so Tommy, can you talk to us a little bit about how you discovered Fieldwire and how adoption has been for your team?
Yeah, so we were first introduced to Fieldwire through a company we were subcontracting for back in 2020. And at the time, they utilized it, and it just said, here's how we do things, threw me in the deep end. You know, I had some experience with things like Procore and Revit, construction management apps, but I was only working for this customer solely in a low voltage, HISO Wi-Fi, CCTV, AV situation. So I had never leveraged a tool like that myself solely for this field. And I thought, well, this is going to be interesting. And it didn't take me long to go, wow, this is awesome. And within a few months, I had signed us up, and I've never gone back. Fieldwire is a great tool for us. It does a lot of things that your terms, the way you describe it, make it a great construction management tool. I look at it like a project documentation tool, a CYA tool. It allows me now. I can literally, if I want to, work in this office 5 days a week, and my team is in the field. I have real time communication with what they're doing. I can see it in real time. I can watch progress in real time, and all of that probably sounds daunting, but it's really not. It's super simple. It takes a minute to figure it out, but once you figure it out, it's super simple. We now leverage it for every project we do. I won't show you here, but I actually have in Fieldwires. My wife and I bought land. We're building a new home. My general contractor is in Fieldwire. My wife is in Fieldwire. That project has become huge because she's learned to go through and be like, I want this countertop photo. I want this kitchen sink photo. You know, we use it for decision making. It's just a great tool. And when we get to that point, I'll walk you through everything we do with it and why there's no tool like it that does what it does anywhere on the market.
Yeah, it's great to hear how quickly you were convinced.
It was one job. I used it for one job because I had no choice. I was told to. And after a week of going, you're not the boss of me, I was like, wow, this is great. And I've never gone back. The guys liked it. The team liked it. It's very rare for an install team in the field to grab software, especially something that's, I need you to now start doing this. And now they love it because now they just do it automatically because they know their butt's covered by the way they do things in Fieldwire. They document, they comment, they photo. There's no asking, what did you do today? I can look and see what photo Chris took at 8:37 on September the 4th, 2023, and know that's the day he did that job. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So diving into some of your processes, can you walk us through how you're creating projects? Are you leveraging the project templates?
Yeah, so I'll talk for a second, and then I guess we'll do a screen share, and I'll just walk them through it. So we are not unique because a lot of people in my world that may be watching this now, if you're in low voltage, you're probably also an MSP or you do some MSP-like things. There's a good chance that you're not solely an LV subprime contractor. So because we do that kind of work, a lot of our stuff is repeat. I have a lot of customers in the hotel industry for hospitality. We do a lot of Hiltons, Marriott's. Those are big projects. Yeah, I mean, a 5-story hotel, a 15-story dual hotel. And we had to learn, I had to learn, because Fieldwire is an amazing tool, but if you get thrown into it on day one and no one is there to show you, you're going to spend a long time doing things what I would call the hard way, but it's the only way that is intuitive. We have learned, and I will show you today, how to rapidly decrease that time. I can do what used to take me 4 hours now in 45 to 50 seconds. I can do what would take me all week in one day. We use it for quoting. We use it for takeoffs. We use it for project tracking, everything except time tracking. If you would put a time clock feature in, just saying, you would be a one-stop shop for our company. But yeah, it's a great tool. And because we do so many repeat style of projects, we have templated some things that make that super fast. So if you call me and say, I need you to do a new hotel, I have a project template for hotels and I know exactly what it's going to be. And I can do, like, again, I can onboard, that's what we call it. I onboard a project in about 10 minutes as opposed to all day long. So it's wonderful.
Awesome. So I can go ahead and give you the screen now.
Sure.
So I know you're using.
I
Go
will
ahead.
share this one right here. So what you should be looking at right now is, are you seeing my task screen for this particular Fieldwire project?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So basically, I get a project, and I made this as a sample. This is pulling live, real data from multiple different projects. So I'm not showing off all of one customer's stuff. But like I said, we do a lot of hotels. So the first thing I'll get is a map of the hotel. I need to know what this looks like. And they send me the floor plan. And adding floor plans is incredibly simple. If you are a contractor that has to work on bigger floor plans from your GC, there's a really amazing thing that when they give you floor plans in January and you start doing your bid, when they send you new plans in August and they've changed plans 4 times, you can click one-click import and it will update every single plan you already have. So if you're familiar with larger size projects, you might get a 1,500-page blueprint and your LV section is only going to be Division 27 or it's going to be under the electrician. So you only need 4 pages than 1,500, but you can update your plans on the fly, which is an amazing, cool thing I did not know in the very beginning. So I think what we're going to cover here is a template. So I have a template for hospitality, and I would come in here and load in my floor plans. I simply hit new plan, drag and drop, wait for Fieldwire to analyze the plan and read it. What you guys may not know is Fieldwire is reading the text on this plan. It's looking down here on the blueprints to look for architectural marks, plan names, so it can hyperlink plans together. It's not just load your 5 pages and they just sit there. It actually is thinking in the background. So I build a template for hospitality because it helps me and it helps my team. For example, low voltage guys, we're all going to wire an MDF. So sure, I track the cabling part of that. I also track the next steps when we do HISA. So I'm installing the gateway, the firewall, the core switch, the UPS systems. Sometimes it's got an SD-WAN. I need to document the ISP connection. Before we're done, I need to speed test it and prove that it's got the speed the customer paid for, or that I sold them. Is the rack grounded? All this stuff is templated because this way we don't forget it. My guys might forget, take a picture that the rack is grounded. Well, it may not seem important, but those of you in this field know that grounding a rack and bonding your rack and tray is very important. So you need to have it documented. So for hotels, I come in here and I drop in a plan just like this. It's a template I made in Visio. I drop this in, and this is my template for what every IDF is supposed to have. And every MDF probably has something like this. And beyond that, I have other templates that may do different things. You want me to walk them through how to put things on a template and how we start to utilize tasks?
Yeah, we can talk a bit about that. If you want to share with all of the tasks that you have across a project, if you're able to share how you're able to efficiently get those into the project at the start of a job.
Absolutely. So if you're in my field and you're looking at a new set of plans like this here, here's a bid set that I'm currently, I just bid, and I can show this one because this project is not going to go forward, so it's fine. But for those of you that have had to look through blueprints and go, God, I need to figure out, do I want this job? Is this a job I even want to quote? I came in here and dropped in tasks, and I'll show you what I did. Every project's a little bit different, but this particular project has things like rough in, because I know all of my tasks for data are going to be dual Cat6 data. So I have a little category here. I call it to data. And everywhere that I see on this plan that I've got to do a dual drop, I come in here and once I make it I'll make one task. I need to put a dual drop right there. And category is rough in, and this is a dual drop. Thank you. Now it's done. Now I can come through here, hit duplicate, hold shift, and go bam, bam, bam. Start laying out my task on my spots on the map that need it. Once I've made that, I'll copy an access point. Well, I've got all these access point icons here. So I'll add an AP here, here, here. I just click through the plans, build my takeoff, and I like color codes. I live for color codes. So in my head, red is just a pure data run, blue is WAPs, green is cameras, pink may be something else. I can track fire stop sleeves, all kinds of stuff. So I build my tasks out, and what that gives me is this. Now, when I start a project, it's going to look very much just like this. This is a project I got as far as quoting. So my next step is going to be, I've got to quote this job. I have 224 dual datas. That's 448 Cat6. I know it instantly. 78 cameras, 8 fiber runs, 61 AP runs. I've now been able to figure out my estimate that I'm going to have to do next based on the information I did putting the plan together. And I'm going to use this data through the life of my project. So I'll show you one that has had a long life. This is a hospital that we're doing right now. I'm trying to keep some of the more sensitive things off screen. But for example, we had to come in and put 2-day data runs in this office. Way back in, I created this task back in May 22nd, 2025. On 7/17, my guy Chris, he roughed it in. There's the cable in the wall box. I know who took it, what day, what time, what GPS coordinate it was taken at, and what task it is. And then as he's done, now he's pulled it out, he's labeled it, he's properly terminated it. The next step is going to be come back and faceplate it. So when he did that, he shifted it from rough in to trim out, and now it's been trimmed out. So now it's marked needs to be certified. Once it's certified, it'll get marked ready for completion, and it's done. And I can visually color code and look at these tasks and know where my project is right now. I still have about 20 speakers. These need to be done. And I can check and see, oh, good news, he put that speaker in. So now I can come in here and check that task and say, he's done. That looks great. That speaker is now complete. So I can do all this from here. I don't have to go to my job site. As far as, do you want me to get into task duplication and stuff now, or like using the importer? Do you want to wait a little bit?
We can show a bit of the importer. I was just going to ask, So as we're looking at the kind of the life cycle of a task and how your teams are interacting with them, to kind of document their progress. Do you have any examples of having to go back and revisit these tasks or use that information for maybe back charge negotiation or anything like that?
Sure. So I had a client, and in fact, it was this one. I go to tasks, and they email me a punch list of things. They said, "Hey, these are some small things." Now, a lot of these things weren't even us because this building had pre-existing cable, but they want a 4-inch sleeve at this spot. So they took me to the map and said, "Tommy, I want you to put a 4-inch sleeve right there." So I opened up Fieldwire on my phone, created a new task called punch list. Need a 4-inch sleeve. It's got to go right there. All right, fine. So that's not my problem, but I need to come back. I can take care of this. So I made a note. I did a far off picture. It's here. I put a note in here, and I set it for punch list. My guys know as soon as the 4-inch sleeves come in, they'll go put those two in because there's 2 of them left to do, and they need something done in room 3083. So that was a place where Blue Cat 6 needs a J hook. I went through it, inspected, and thought, no, guys, I want one more J hook there. And they caught it. And so now they'll go fix it. These are all the ones that have been repaired. So throughout that building, I found about 30 things that either me or the client wanted to have tweaked. 25 of those 30 are now fixed. I got 4 things left to do. And I know exactly what 4 they are. I don't have to wonder or try to remember or find that notepad that I walked around with because I do it all in Fieldwire on the phone on site.
Awesome. So you mentioned the task importer and some punch list items. Can you talk about how you're importing your punch lists into Fieldwire?
Sure. So, and this kind of goes back to the templating thing. So I'll switch back to my template here. This is a template that is mostly done. Like here's a hotel MDF and it's mostly finished. Do you have the gateway in? Yes. Do you have a core switch? Yes. I've got a picture of the Mac and the serial. There it is. My guys will normally have a picture of it completely racked, and I'll show you some of those pictures in a minute. When we're done, I take a rack by panel and say, show me this entire rack, patch panel by patch panel by patch panel. In case I have a question or a client asks me a question, I can go back and see what's where, and that kind of stuff. So building all these tasks takes time, or it could. So I'll show you the 3 ways to build a task, and I'll use a blank page here. I could come in here the old-fashioned way. I need to do a gateway. This is a reference task in my template. Category is equipment is currently missing. I'm going to call this Hilton Gateway, blah, 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 blah. And now the guys know that there's a task they have to do. Or I can sit here and do this 27 times. Well, that's going to get cumbersome. And especially if I'm doing 10 buildings. I've learned this is my template. And every building is going to have this. So there's a much faster way to do this. And here's how I do it. I built an Excel spreadsheet based off of what I know these tasks always are. And so I simply come into Fieldwire and I go tasks, import task from a task importer. So this is the second way that you do this. And I go to my task template, copy, right click, paste, because I already know what my statuses are, what my categories are, what plan I want it on. And this gives me the X and Y coordinates on a map. So we'll watch this. 22 tasks. Took about 8 seconds, maybe 10. Now, if I go to that plan, oh, look, all the tasks are now here. That was literally 1 minute. It would take me longer if I wasn't talking. Shorter if I wasn't talking through it. So that's one quick template that on the admin side, the MSP side, I find very useful. And it turns into, as they start to use things, it turns into something like this. Our workflow is you guys do tasks that are not green. If it's black, it's called reference. You have to look it up, see what I need. If it's orange, this category is problem to resolve. No picture of serial number here. Please upload pic. And I tag that problem to resolve. And then they can look, what are my problem sites? Oh, here's my problem. I need to get a picture of this. There it is. Now I know. He doesn't have to look through these or wonder what it was. So if I want to apply that same workflow to something like the hotel floor, well, here's my hotel second floor. I made these tasks the long way, the hard way. I went through and I placed them and I duplicated. So now I've done one floor. Well, the great thing about hotels or office buildings is that for the most part, most of your floors are quasi identical. So here's an easy way to do this. You hit your task tool, highlight everything on this map, right click, hit copy. And I'm gonna go to a different page. I go to fourth floor. I'm gonna right click, hit paste, wait for Fieldwire to load the tasks, and it will put them in a bounding box. And now I just simply need to put them about right there. I didn't mean to copy that, but I did. And look, now I just laid out 25 more tasks for the fourth floor, and I copy and paste for the fifth floor and the sixth floor. Now, wonderful tool, went super quick. I can do this again on the next page and the next page and next page. The downside of that is, once you learn Fieldwire a bit, these tasks don't have titles. I got to come in here and title them all. This is 401, and this task over here is 402. Well, gosh, I wish I could make that better and faster. Oh, wait, I can. So instead of that, I'll go to, instead of that copy and paste method that you just saw, go to tasks, create a report. This is what it's going to look like, and it's going to kick me out a spreadsheet. And that spreadsheet is very simple, very plain. I open that spreadsheet and I modify it for third floor. All I did was just change the names. I changed 201 to 301, 202 to 302. And I want these on the plan called third floor. Take all this, copy, and I use that trick I showed you a while ago. So currently my third floor is empty. It has no tasks. Tasks, import from the importer, paste, done, and go look at that plan now. There's all my tasks, and they're labeled by the room: 302, 30 or 325, 321, whatever that building format is. So these don't match up, but I just made them very quickly to show you what could be done. So this alone would take someone an hour to do. The great thing is I can take this, build it myself as the integrator, and I can share it with my team and they can do it. Or if I'm subbing someone out, I can share it to them and they can do it and they can follow through this. So what one of these looks like when it's done, here's one we just finished last week. Horrible set of plans, not my fault. I don't like it either. But we have a picture of the room number, the device serial and the MAC, the device label, and then a picture of that particular AP installed in the socket. And I have a note here as to, why that got installed the way it did. That's not how we like to do it, but in that case, that's how we had to. So every single thing we do is documented. And it's all documented in photos. And I have a picture of everything we took in Fieldwire that I can go find. Or if you call me and say, what did you do in room 302? Come up here and look. Let me see. Room 302 is AP 41. It is completed. AP is installed. And yep, there it is in that ceiling behind that hatch right there. If I need to mark that up so they can see that, it's right behind here, ma'am. And then I can send them a report of this entire building with just a few clicks. So did I cover that well enough?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really great to see how you've dialed in your processes over time. But I think we're going to pause here for a quick poll question.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Looks like a lot of you are already using Fieldwire tasks to track progress, so that's great to see.
That means a lot of these guys are GCs going, I don't do low voltage. Why do I care? But you got a good amount there that don't. That's good.
Yeah.
Those of you that don't, I'm telling you, I won't charge you a lick. I'll show you how to use it. It's awesome. And I don't get paid by Fieldwire, by the way. I don't work for them. I don't even get my licenses for free. I pay like everybody else. I like to share good tools and good technology and make the community work better. And this tool does it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's jump back into your processes and talk a little bit about reports. Are you also leveraging the task reports? And if so, has that proven pretty beneficial to your customers?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, this is not one of the ones I had sampled to share, but I probably can. One I just did. Here we go. This is one that I did, and I'm going to close up that Zoom a little bit. So this is a hotel we had to certify. So using Fieldwire, I came in here and did some extra things. So my team certified this building for the owner. I have to know what cables I'm certifying anyway. So I still need to know this information. Might as well have it in Fieldwire. So instead of having to scroll through the certification reports and going, what was that room that didn't work? I just came back in Fieldwire. And for example, here's one that the certification failed. I just very quickly, I had a little idea. I'll come in here and highlight these in red. Okay, now I've got a very quick visual of what did not work and why. And I can read the task. Let me see. Here's the AP. We can't get to it because you can't get to the AP security key because the desk is in the way. They have to move the desk for us to get to it. So we put a note, cert A21, no access. That's how we kind of document what's going on. If this was going to be one for a Hilton where we did a bunch of access points, I will find you right here under, I think I saved it. Maybe. If not, I will quickly go. Yep, here's one. So I go into Fieldwire when I'm done, and I have things like I'll shift to a project that makes more sense. I'll shift to where's it at? Here, one that we just did APs for. So we just put all the APs in. That's all we did, and new switches, new equipment. So if you go to EMDF, you'll see things like ISP connection. There's a photo. I'm not going to show details because this is a live site. Is the UPS in? Yes. In fact, my guy labeled the UPS wrong. I caught it and said, "Hey, the label's wrong. Please fix it." He did, and he uploaded new pictures to prove it. So now I know that UPS is now labeled properly. So back to punch listing and stuff. But now I want to give my client a report that says, "Show me everything you did in my MDF and prove to me that you met all of my expectations." Just like I've learned to template with tasks, I've learned to template with reports. So in my hotel template, I have these reports pre-made. AP report, IDF report up to maybe 7, and an MDF. It is very quick. It is very simple to click that at report, change it, say I don't want to see photos, or I do want to see photos. I only want to see things that are completed, verified, or referenced. I only want to see categories, equipment installed or missing, not APs. I want to see things that were removed so I can note why they were removed. And you make these up for your business. I have categories that work for me. You tweak your own. So when I'm done, only show me things on the rack plan, and I hit download report, and I'll save the time it takes to make that report because it takes about 1 minute, but it creates something like this. Here's the EMDF report. I'll drag it over. My company, what hotel we did, and then here is everything in that building and by task. So in the MDF, the UPS, it's labeled. There's a serial number. There's a picture of it in the rack. The other UPS, it's labeled. There's a serial number. There's a picture of it in the rack. Everything is done. The core switch or the DMX gateway, serial number, MAC address, label in the rack. Show me the final picture. It's there. It's clean. I saw it. I know it's installed. You can't tell me that it's not. That's wonderful. That is an awesome, awesome tool. So I can kick out this report. And if I was looking at, for example, the APP report, I'll pull that up. AP report. It's kind of boring because it's 100 and some odd APs. Oh, wait a minute, go up. There it is. So very boring report unless you're the customer. So my note says, here's a full accounting of all APs. Here's a table of contents. You can choose to make one or not. And then room 102, there's the MAC address, there's the label, there's the AP installed on the wall. There's room 106, same process. There's the AP way down there in that corner behind the desk. So everything that we do is kicked out in this report. And now that I've templated that report, I can make it in seconds. And I can make up new reports all the time in just a matter of 30 to 60 seconds. I mean, click here, new report, click a few buttons, and you've got a much more professional product than I could make by the old-fashioned way of simply organizing pictures into folders. Well, here's your APs and trying to name them. Nope, I get a report from Fieldwire. It tells me who did it, what day they did it, what their GPS coordinate was when it was done, and I mean, fantastic tool. I'm rambling now, so I'll shut up.
It's all good. It's been really great to hear a little bit more about Twisted Networx processes today. It's been really insightful to kind of see how your team has refined the usage over time. It seems like things are super dialed in now, so that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, so that is going to be it for the live demonstrations today, and I'll hand it back over to Pranathi.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Courtney. And before we dive into the Q&A here, let's do one last poll question.
And I'd love to answer some of those Q&As that you've got coming up.
Yes.
Because a few of those had some pretty specific questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Am I still sharing my screen, or are you seeing yours?
You're sharing your screen, Tommy.
I'll turn that off so you're seeing your poll, not my screen.
Awesome. Let's give it another couple of seconds before we wrap up this question as well.
That's really cool that high percentage found it useful. I'm really glad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, let me mention one thing that it is not a part of anything you've ever done, but it's something I learned last week. And some of these guys here in this industry are going to have this problem. We're working on it. Thanks for having this great web-enabled tool, Tommy, but we work in sites with crappy service. What are we supposed to do? I didn't know this till I found out by accident. So kudos to you guys. But of course, you put the map on your app on your phone and you synchronize it. And then when you go start taking pictures, well, the boss at home can't see them. Are these pictures being saved? They are. Fieldwire's caching all of them. And as soon as you walk outside and take that Gatorade break and hit Wi-Fi again or cell service, up they go. So even when you've got bad service, the app works.
Awesome. Feel free to share your screen, Tommy, if you want to share. So before I address or talk about any questions, this session is being recorded, and we will share the recording of this session with all of you as an email. We'll share a presentation as well. But also you can see all our webinars and this session on our YouTube channel. Just type Fieldwire for low voltage and you will see the webinar right there, probably by end of the day today or early tomorrow. We also give out certificates for webinar attendees. If you need a certificate for attendance, feel free to reply back to any of the webinar emails that you got, and I will have that sent by end of this week. Perfect. Tommy, question for you here. Do you utilize task linking to a place? Task linking to place a task on corresponding TR for room reference. So do you utilize task linking? Yeah.
Absolutely. And can I share real quick?
Yeah.
Can show them how?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, I absolutely do. I'm trying to think of the nearest, the most recent one I had that would have that. But for example, I'll just do an AP on the second floor here. again, I have built into my template, but I no longer need them because the guys are so good at this. But I built into a template a checklist. So I'm going to save a checklist called AP checklist. Done. So I can put in here things to remember, like, did you get a photo of the mac and cereal? Check. Did you get a picture of installed close up? Check. Etc. But I might need on and here's a great example. I have my rack task down here called rack MDF, but I know the MDF is actually down here on the site. So I can click, I want to relate this task to an existing task, and it's on, let me see, MDF, and I can just search by task names. So show me, I'll just pick switch one, create a relationship. Now, when I'm on this task, I can jump to that task that would normally be my TR. And when I'm on that task, I can jump back to this task. I can go back and forth. So yes, you can create relationships between those two things. I'm trying to think if I answered that well. Do I find an advantage to not using the checklist? You find an advantage to not using the checklist.
Yeah. So do you find like an advantage not using the task?
I think once I start utilizing a checklist, once my team knows it, I don't bother putting the checklist in. But if it's a new process or I've had to change the way we do things, I'll throw a checklist in so we remember. Because did I forget to tell Chris? Did Chris forget to tell Kemp? I don't know. Does the new guy even know? So I'll checklist stuff. I very much like keeping the images under the task because we track it. And I can show you one from that three pack job where actually I'll show you one where we went, let's say, I'll just pick something random. This room on April 2nd, 2025, this was bare studs. And I came to verify, did the electrician put my box in? Yes. And then and is it stubbed out? Yes, it is. Great. Fine. Now I can show up. And is it roughed in? There it is. It's coiled. It's Velcroed. It has a bushing. Good job. Now it's been roughed into the wall. Let me see. Was that the end? Now it's been terminated. So I like keeping the photos in line. And if you do that, once you're right here, you can just click download the original photo or download the optimized lower res photo, which 9 times out of 10 that works. Or I can take this entire task. And you can't see it, but yeah, there it is. I can just really quickly make a PDF of this entire task to show my customer. Here's all the photos. And if I click it to them, email it to them, they can click these links and they will blow up full size. So I hope I answered all that, but yes, I really like how it does that.
Perfect. Thank you, Tommy. The next question I have here for you is, have you considered adding titles to the tasks before the import to update the names?
Absolutely. Do not do, and I showed you a quick example. I'm still screen sharing here. So I showed you a quick example of, let me go to, back to my Fieldwire template. So I showed you a floor here where I just quickly pasted a bunch of tasks. So if you're going to copy and paste, if I name this task AP 100 and I copy and paste it, I'm just going to put it up here. I've now accidentally made 4 tasks all called AP 100. So I'm a little bit quicker now and better. So I would come into Excel and say, okay, well, I did my 300s. Now I'm going to call 400, 401, 402. Now I'm going to take this and shoot it right down the line. Boom. And now I'll import these. Our labels are much more complicated than that, but I gave you a quick, easy label to work with. But that way, when I drop these tasks in, and if you look at that third floor plan, they came in here pre-labeled 301, 302, or 301-AP017, whatever that label is. But yes, you definitely want to think it through and pre-label before you drop 450 tasks on a map. Because if not, you're the one coming in here, clicking, typing, 303, enter, escape. Next task, 304. It can get old real fast.
Makes sense. Also, this answers Mike's question, which basically he was understanding how you're exporting the level 3, and when you're importing level 4, it actually goes at the same location. So, Mike here wants to know if it actually lands on the plan at the right location. That's correct, it does, because when you're exporting, it sort of exports the X and Y coordinates of the location. And when you're importing another set of tasks with just the change of titles, it goes and takes the XY positions that you had on the third floor. So you can multiple import it onto the other floors as well.
I can show that process in probably 45 seconds if you want to see it.
We're actually at time, so I don't want to like drag everyone. Awesome. Thank you so much for this great webinar, Tommy and Courtney. And Tommy, thank you so much for sharing the different projects and the workflows that you are using. And I know you have taken a lot of time to come till here, but thank you so much for sharing your knowledge.
You are certainly welcome.
Awesome. And I have a quick survey at the end of this for everyone. Feel free to take a couple of minutes and just address that survey. And any questions we didn't go through today, we'll go ahead and send you an email with the answers for it. Thank you and have a great Wednesday.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, everyone.
You guys, I don't mind answering some of those questions later if there's a way to send them to me. I can publish them on Facebook or LinkedIn or something.
Perfect. I'll do that.